The United States owes more money than exists. Not metaphorically, literally. Add up every dollar, euro, yen, and pound in circulation in every bank account, in every vault on Earth, and the US government alone owes more than that. So here's the question nobody wants to answer out loud. If a country owes more than all the money in the world, who exactly do they pay back, and when? The answer is going to bother you, because the truth is, they don't. They never have, and they're not designed to. Right now, global government debt sits above $100 trillion. The US alone owes over $34 trillion. Japan's debt is more than twice its entire economy, and yet bond markets keep buying. Credit ratings stay strong. Nobody's panicking. If you owed twice what you earned in a year, your bank would be calling you daily. But when a country does it, investors line up to lend them more. Either everyone's lost their mind, or there's a different game being played here, one most people were never taught the rules to. That's what we're unpacking, not as a doom story, as a how does this machine actually work story. Because once you see it, you'll never look at a national budget the same way again. Let's start simple. A government spends money, roads, salaries, military, healthcare. It collects money through taxes. Almost every year, spending is higher than collection. That gap is the deficit. To cover that gap, the government doesn't print cash directly. It sells bonds. Think of a bond as an IOU. Give me $100 now, I'll pay you back later plus interest. Banks, pension funds, foreign governments, even regular people buy these IOUs because government debt is considered the safest bet on the planet. The logic is simple. A country can always tax its citizens or, in extreme cases, create more of its own currency to cover what it owes. So far, this sounds manageable. Borrow a bit, pay it back, repeat. That's how households work, right? Except governments don't really pay it back. Here's what actually happens when an old bond comes due. The government issues a new bond and uses that money to pay off the old one. That's it. That's the move. It's not paying off debt, it's swapping debt. Old loan retires, new loan takes its place, forever. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. The US government doesn't just roll over old debt, it adds new debt on top every single year because spending keeps exceeding revenue. So the total doesn't shrink, it compounds. And here's the number that should make you sit up. Just the interest payments on existing US debt are now projected to cost over $1 trillion a year. That's more than the entire defense budget, just to cover interest, not the debt itself, the interest on it. Picture a credit card where you're not even managing to pay down the balance. You're just barely covering the minimum payment, and the minimum keeps rising because the balance keeps rising. That's not a temporary situation. That's the system running exactly as designed. And here's the quiet irony nobody likes to say out loud. The debt isn't a bug the government is trying to fix. It's closer to a permanent subscription the economy is built around. Modern financial systems actually need government debt to exist. It's used as collateral, as a safe asset banks hold, as the benchmark interest rate for almost everything else. If the US ever actually paid off its entire debt, zero, completely gone, global financial markets would have a crisis. There'd be no risk-free asset left to anchor everything else to. The absence of debt would be more destabilizing than the debt itself. Let that sit for a second. The system isn't broken because the debt never gets paid off. The system would break if it did. Now, here's where the public conversation gets messy. Every election cycle, someone promises to balance the budget or pay down the debt. It sounds responsible, it polls well, it almost never happens. And not because politicians are uniquely dishonest, it's because the promise itself misunderstands the machine. Paying off the debt would mean either slashing spending dramatically, raising taxes dramatically, or both, at a scale no population would tolerate for long, and no economy could absorb without consequences. So instead, what actually happens is more nuanced and less dramatic sounding. Governments try to keep the debt growing slower than the economy grows. That's the real goal, not zero debt, just debt that's shrinking relative to the size of everything else. It's the difference between someone with $50,000 in debt who earns $30,000 a year versus someone with $50,000 in debt who earns $300,000. Same debt, completely different level of concern. This is why economists obsess over a number called debt-to-GDP, not the raw debt figure. The raw number sounds terrifying in headlines. The ratio is what actually matters. But here's where the story stops being reassuring. For this system to keep working, a few things need to stay true. Interest rates need to stay manageable, investors need to keep believing the debt will always be honored, and the economy needs to keep growing fast enough to keep the ratio in check. All of these are currently under pressure. Interest rates have risen sharply from where they sat for over a decade, which means the minimum payment on the world's largest debts just got dramatically more expensive, almost overnight. Aging populations in the US, Europe, China, and Japan mean fewer workers paying taxes and more retirees drawing benefits, shrinking the side of the equation that's supposed to grow. And the countries holding the most US debt, foreign governments, are slowly, quietly diversifying away from it, not abandoning it, just holding a little less than they used to, each year. A trend, not a headline. None of this is a crisis on its own, but it's the kind of thing where each piece individually looks survivable, and people only get nervous when they all show up in the same decade. This is the part that should actually bother you more than the headline debt figure. It's not the size of the number, it's whether the conditions that made the number fine for the last 70 years are quietly changing under us. So no, countries don't pay off their debt. They were never going to. The debt isn't a problem waiting for a solution. It's closer to a treadmill that the entire global financial system is standing on and has been for decades. The treadmill can run for a very long time. It can even speed up a little without anyone falling off. But every treadmill has a speed where things stop being fine. Nobody knows exactly where that speed is. Nobody's run this particular experiment before. Not at this scale, not with this many countries doing it simultaneously, not with the demographic and interest rate pressures lining up quite like this. So the real question isn't when will the debt get paid off? It's this: how long can a system designed to never finish keep convincing everyone it doesn't